My name is Elena Cross, and the man who walked through the glass doors of Halverson and Company that morning, he thought I was nobody. Just furniture behind the reception desk. But oh, I was so much more than he could imagine. Before I go any further, please like this video and listen to my story till the end, and let me know which city you're listening from. That way, I can see how far my story has traveled. It means the world to know someone out there is hearing me. That morning, I stood behind the glimmering marble counter in the towering lobby, my ID clipped neatly to my blazer. Temporary receptionist. Such a sterile title. So generic. So invisible. The LED ticker above the elevators blinked like it was laughing at me. Congratulations, Damon. Blue letters. Looping. Over and over. It was the day of the quarterly town hall, and the building already felt heavy with pretense. As if his promotion was already a done deal. But for me, it wasn't a celebration. It was a countdown. The air was cold, the scent of bitter office coffee clawing at my nose. I didn't flinch. I was waiting. I knew him. Knew the type. Knew exactly when he'd arrive. At 7:15 a.m., the revolving doors spun with dramatic precision. He always liked to arrive early, Damon Vale. Executive. Entitled. Arrogant to the bone. His stride was rehearsed, like he'd practiced it in the mirror. He didn't look at the security guard. Didn't even glance at the woman mopping the floor. He marched straight to my desk, phone glued to his ear. Without a word, he slid a paper toward me, like I was a vending machine, and he'd just press the button. Reception, he barked, not even looking at me. Book the main conference room. Do not mess it up. I caught the page as it skimmed off the counter. It was his promotion rehearsal schedule. 2 hours. Executive boardroom. Catering. AV team. All the bells and whistles for a victory parade he thought he'd already earned. He finally looked at me but didn't see me. Just a badge. Just a roll. I need it for 9, he said. And get me a coffee. Black. No cream, no sugar. Don't screw it up like last time. I should have recoiled. Should have said yes, sir. But I didn't. Has anyone ever underestimated you so badly it actually made you laugh? Or burn? Drop a collision in the comments if you've ever had someone treat you like you were nothing. I told him calmly, I'll handle it. Good, he said, already walking away. As if I wasn't even there. I looked down at the paper. Executive boardroom. 9 a.m. Damon Vale. Then something unexpected happened. A courier dropped a padded envelope onto my desk. Need a signature, he muttered. I glanced at the label. Confidential. Audit committee. Legal department. It was supposed to go straight to legal. Not to the front desk. Not to me. I held it in my hands. Heavy. Serious. My fingertips buzzed with intuition. I knew exactly what was in it. Numbers. Emails. Hidden accounts. Paper trails like veins, running deep into the heart of corruption. The audit. For Damon's department. I looked at the envelope. Then at Damon's request. Then I turned to the computer. And that's when I saw it. The sticky note. Taped right under the keyboard. Username, front desk. Password, welcome one. They handed me the key to the kingdom. You're probably wondering what I did next. Let's just say, Damon got his meeting. But not the one he expected. Part 2 is where it gets personal. Keep watching. I stared at the computer screen like it was a map to buried treasure. From this single terminal, I could see every room, every meeting, every secret whispered behind soundproof glass. The master calendar of Halverson and Company was open, and I had admin access. All because someone was too lazy to disable the front desk's default permissions. Damon Vale thought he could bulldoze his way into the boardroom for his big rehearsal. And technically he could. Unless someone else had already booked it. And someone just had. Me. But not for what he expected. Not for the promotion rehearsal he'd penciled in like a coronation. No, I titled it something a little less festive. Operational Audit Review. Mandatory attendance. I added the legal team. I added the external auditors. I added the chair of the board. And last, with a tiny smile, I added Damon Vale. He wanted that room. He wanted the spotlight. He wanted every executive watching. So I gave him exactly what he wanted. I hit send, and just like that, the machinery started moving. Phones buzzed. Calendars updated. His fate was sealed, and he had no idea. I looked up at the ticker still scrolling above the elevator. Congratulations, Damon. If only it knew. The boardroom was now a courtroom. And Damon had just stepped into it thinking he was king. Have you ever had that one moment, just one, where you turn the tables on someone who thought they were untouchable? Tell me in the comments with counterclockwise arrows button if you've ever flipped the script on someone who underestimated you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who was I to pull a stunt like this? Well, I wasn't just a temp. 3 weeks earlier, I walked into Halverson and Company not to answer phones or sort packages. My badge said operations support, but that was only half the truth. I was a forensics specialist. I was sent by Halverson's parent company to track down irregularities in their spending, leaks in the budget that nobody could explain. My job was to investigate. Quietly. Invisibly. And no place in the building was more invisible than the front desk. That's where I met Marla Jennings, the actual receptionist. Young. Bright. Efficient to a fault. But I noticed something in her posture, the way her shoulders tensed whenever Damon walked past. Like he carried a storm cloud in his shadow. One morning, after he snapped his fingers at her like a bellhop and disappeared into the elevator, I asked if she was okay. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. They make me fix the schedule, she whispered. Just 6 words. But they rang in my head for days. Fix is not a word auditors like. It doesn't mean update. It doesn't mean manage. It means manipulate. She never said more. She was too scared. But I started paying attention. And what I saw chilled me. Damon wasn't just stealing time. He was stealing something else. In part 3, I follow the money. And what I find, it was never just about him. Keep going. You'll want to hear this. The morning he tossed his order at me, Damon Vale thought he was throwing crumbs to the help. But while he rehearsed for his big promotion speech, I was staring at something far more interesting. A gift basket. 3 of them, actually. Delivered right to reception, addressed to the sales team. But the delivery slip? It told another story. The baskets were luxury, iPads, scotch, Godiva. Not fruit and peanuts. And the cost center? Not sales. It was billed to operations, miscellaneous consulting. Damon's department. Damon's budget. I double-checked the slip. My stomach turned. Why was operations buying $3,000 gift baskets for sales using consulting funds? Why were they addressed to Damon instead of the department? Then, as if fate itself wanted to scream, my phone buzzed. A message from Marla, supposedly sick with food poisoning. Don't trust the schedules moved for conflict, it read. Someone's covering something. Then unsent. She'd pulled it back. Terrified. Like she was being watched. I minimized the calendar and opened the vendor portal. There had to be a record. I filtered 6 months of expenses tied to that consulting line. Dozens of small payments. Most routine. Boring. Then I saw it. One name. Over and over again. Rookbridge Consulting. Every invoice just under the $5,000 approval threshold. Every invoice signed by Damon himself. I wrote it down. Rookbridge. Never heard of it. Sounded fake. And based on how fast my heart was pounding, I knew this wasn't just financial padding. This was theft. Ever had that eerie moment when the pieces suddenly click and you realize someone's been lying this whole time? Drop a woman detective if you've ever uncovered a secret you weren't supposed to see. I started digging. Harder. Deeper. I cross-checked the invoices against his calendar. Like gears in a clock, they aligned perfectly. Every time a Rookbridge invoice was approved, Damon had a calendar entry called Administrative Review. Always private. Always quiet. Always scheduled 30 minutes after the invoice hit the system. Neat. Predictable. Criminal. But that wasn't the worst part. I checked the security logs. Swipes. Entry records. The building showed Damon entering early, at 5:58 a.m. But the boardroom was booked for 6:30. A 30-minute gap. Nothing on the calendar. No meetings. No witnesses. And when I looked at the approval logs for the invoices, the user ID wasn't Damon's. It was front desk. My blood went cold. The same account Marla used. The same one I was using. Damon had been logging in under her credentials. Late at night. After hours. Alone. If an audit came, the evidence trail would point to Marla. He was framing her. That's when it stopped being about spreadsheets and started being about protecting someone. In part 4, I catch him red-handed. And I start pulling the whole system down with him. You won't believe who else was involved. Keep watching. I thought I was tracking a thief. But now? I was trying to stop a cover-up that would destroy a 24-year-old girl who didn't even know how deep she was in. Marla. Sweet, overworked, anxious Marla. The real receptionist. The one who trusted authority. Who thought she was just doing what was asked. And Damon? He was using her name and her login to approve fake invoices for a fake consulting firm. And that's when I knew. I wasn't just exposing a scam. I was going to save her. That night, I met her at a quiet booth in a coffee shop. Rain lashed the windows, blurring the city into streaks of gray. She looked exhausted. Pale. Like someone who hadn't slept in weeks. I didn't know what I was doing, she whispered, barely holding it together. He said the system was down for execs, and if I didn't help, we'd lose a contract. She said it like an apology. I leaned forward, trying to keep my voice steady. Did you approve anything yourself? No, she said quickly. I was logged in. He pointed. I clicked. I thought it was urgent. He always made it feel urgent. She showed me her phone. A screenshot of an email. From Damon. Subject. Approval needed ASAP. The body read. Tessa, I'm in a meeting. Just approve the invoices. You work for the company, right? Help us out. That last line made me sick. You work for the company, don't you? Not a request. Not even a command. It was emotional blackmail, dressed as team spirit. He set her up. He planned it all, right down to the moment HR would come knocking, asking why the front desk was making after-hours approvals. Ever been pressured into something that felt wrong, but they made it sound like loyalty? Drop a pouting face if you've ever had your trust used against you. I called June, the head of internal audit, immediately. We need a legal hold, I said. Now. HR's circling her. They're preparing to fire her before the audit hits. You need a cause, she said. Something hard. Something they can't ignore. I've got it. I'm sending it to your secure inbox. It's time. Minutes later, I got her reply. The legal hold was active. Nothing in Damon's files could be deleted. Not his emails. Not his messages. Not his badge swipe data. It was locked. Then I made my move. I walked back to reception the next morning and used the same calendar Damon thought he controlled to book a meeting. Not just any meeting. Subject. Operational controls review location. Conference room B in the basement. No windows. No performance. Attendees. Damon Vale. Legal. Internal audit. Optional. The chair of the audit committee. And as I hovered over the send button, an email pinged in my inbox. From Damon. Subject. Promotion packet. And one line inside it chilled me. Keep the audit quiet until after the announcement. I don't want any noise this week. He knew. He knew something was coming. He was trying to outrun it. And that's when I clicked send. Damon just got his invite. But he had no idea what room he'd be walking into. In part 5, the final part, the curtain rises. And when it falls, someone's career is going with it. You won't want to miss this. The invite had gone out. Damon Vale, the man who strutted through glass doors like he owned them, had just RSVP'd, yes, to the meeting that would wreck his future. And he had no idea. I watched him descend from the executive floor, all charm and cologne. He strolled up to reception like nothing had changed. Hey, he said, giving me a grin that didn't reach his eyes. That little compliance thing you scheduled, we should move it. It's right before my prep for the town hall. I'll buy you lunch if we push it. I smiled, soft and steady. I can't move it. Legal's already confirmed. So has the audit committee chair. It's locked. He blinked. Once. And I watched it happen. The The smile cracked. His voice dropped low. You know how things work around here, right? People who stay know when to be flexible. You want to stay, don't you? I kept my eyes level. It's a mandatory meeting, Mr. Vale. He stared at me, like the desk had spoken back, then walked away, muttering something under his breath. But he didn't head for the elevators. He walked straight into HR. 10 minutes later, Mila, the HR director, showed up at the desk with a strained smile and a tone that dripped with manipulation. Elena, she said gently, I think there's been a miscommunication about this meeting. I let her speak. Let her push. Let her try. But then I said, this isn't a courtesy, Mila. It's a controls review. And it's not being rescheduled. She sighed. Let's not make a big deal out of nothing. But it wasn't nothing. While she walked away, probably to report back to Damon, I was already heading upstairs to June's office. He knows, I told her. He's trying to move the meeting. He sent HR to do it quietly. June didn't even blink. Then we need to make sure this isn't just an error on paper, she said. We need to prove it was theft. And that's when the phone rang. It was Derek Voss, the CFO. He'd seen the meeting on the calendar. And now he wanted it canceled. June stayed calm, but I could see the color drain from her face. The CFO never got involved in internal audits. Never. That's when it hit me. He wasn't protecting the company. He was protecting Damon. Or worse, himself. Because when I dug deeper that night, back at my apartment, I found it. Rookbridge Consulting wasn't a real company. It was registered to a man named Michael Reed. Damon's college roommate. His best man. They'd been running the scheme together. And the very first fake invoice years ago had Derek Voss's signature on it. He authorized it. He opened the door. And then he backed away while Damon flooded it with money. I stared at the screen, trembling. It wasn't just Damon anymore. This was systemic. This was deep. They were ready to sacrifice a young woman like Marla to save their titles. Their bonuses. Their reputations. But they forgot something. They forgot who was holding the calendar. The next morning, I didn't go to reception. I took Marla straight to the general counsel's office. I filed a whistleblower complaint. By the time Damon stepped into conference room B, the cold, silent one in the basement, legal was already in position. June was there. The audit chair. The CFO. HR. And for the first time in his life, Damon had nowhere to go. No jokes. No charm. Only evidence. Screenshots. Invoices. Calendar overlays. Security footage. Marla's statement. And when I slid the last photo across the table, one showing him, late at night, wearing a baseball cap at the front desk, he finally stopped pretending. He slumped. Silent. Tell me in the comments. And if you've dealt with something similar, share your story. You're not alone. Subscribe for more stories about standing your ground and reclaiming your life. Damon never showed up at the town hall. The ticker above the elevator still read, "Congratulations, Damon." But no one looked up at it anymore. I returned to the lobby. I answered phones. Smiled at couriers. Just like always. But inside, I wasn't furniture anymore. I was the woman who burned the building down from the front desk.